Hello everyone, welcome to the Swimcloud Fanatics podcast. My name is Sharon and today we'll be interviewing Nicole to talk about her swimming journey, how she got into swimming, and how well she knows the swimming world. Let's get started. So how long have you been swimming for?
I have been swimming for probably about 10 years now. I started just kind of like learning how to swim at the YMCA, and then I progressed into club swimming with Riverhawks, and I swam with them basically up until 9th grade when
Is that when Stack started?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's roughly when Stack started, so I transitioned to Stack, and I also swam with the Corning varsity team.
That's great. How did you start swimming?
I started swimming when my dad brought me to a pool one day, and honestly, I've just always been in the water. When we lived in North Carolina when I was much younger, we lived in North Carolina from when I was like 6 months old to when I was 4, and we had a boat, and so we would go tubing and boating all the time, and that was kind of like my first experience, like a lot of water.
Yeah.
And just kind of since then, I've always been in the water. I've always loved the water, and I've just been a very like swimmy kind of person.
Yeah. So was that like competitive swimming or just like for fun?
Initially, it was just for fun. When we moved back to Corning is when I really started like learning all 4 strokes compared to like survival swimming.
Yeah.
And learning more of what competitive swimming is.
Yeah. So what would you say that your favorite event is, and why is it your favorite event?
My favorite event is definitely the 100 back.
Yeah, I could have guessed that.
Yeah, mainly just because I can breathe the whole time, but also I've always enjoyed swimming backstroke. I've always been pretty good at it, which also contributes to why I like it.
Yeah.
My next favorite event would probably be the 1IM. It's not a varsity event, but like it's a really fun club event just because it's really short,
Yeah,
but you
and
also
I
get
know
like a little taste of everything.
it's also a lot different than the 2IM for obvious reasons.
Yeah, it's a lot easier than a 2IM.
Yeah. What would you say that your main stroke or your favorite stroke is?
My main stroke's definitely backstroke, and it's also my favorite stroke. It's really interesting because I think for the most part my backstroke's faster than my freestyle, or at least I like swimming it more than free, just because...
If you get more exposure to something, you're gonna be better at it, I guess. So,
yeah, exactly.
What sport do you think you'd play if swimming wasn't an option?
That's a good question. I would probably either still be in gymnastics and like dancing, or I would probably dive just because I like water. I've always been really interested in diving. I think it's so cool. But if I had to choose a sport that wasn't water, I would probably still be in gymnastics or dancing.
Have you ever done diving competitively?
No.
No?
I want to, but like I think I was
really
too
hard to
valuable
do.
of a swimmer.
Yeah.
I don't think Versus would ever have let me switch.
For dance and gymnastics, as you were saying, were you in that like before swimming, and how long did that last?
Yeah, so I was in gymnastics from when I was, I don't know, really little until about 9 years old, 8 or 9. The reason I had to stop was actually because I had problems with my ankle. I had a bone growing wrong, and I had to get surgery on it, and it really, really bothered me. And gymnastics is a pretty high-impact sport for your ankles.
Yeah.
So that's when I really fully transitioned into swimming. And I danced from, 4th grade to 8th grade. Great times. I really enjoyed dancing. I really enjoy, like, being able to move my body to music and kind of immersing myself in it. But when high school started, I was like, I don't have time for this, so I had to stop.
Yeah, so there was definitely like an overlap in time between gymnastics and dance and swimming.
Yeah.
Do you have a role model in swimming at all? It could be like a world-class swimmer or just like anyone else on the team.
I would
maybe a
say
coach.
probably Angie McCain and Carolyn Heckel.
Yeah.
They're both incredible swimmers. Carolyn was there my freshman year, and I really looked up to her as a swimmer, but also as a person. And Angie, I think, is pretty self-explanatory. She's just absolutely insane in the pool.
Yeah.
And it was really, really cool to be on the same team as her and to be able to watch her swim.
Mm-hmm. She won states like 3 years in a row, right?
Yeah. Something like that. Now she's out here breaking records over at West Point.
Yeah. It's funny because I didn't know that she was like super good at swimming when I was her neighbor.
Oh.
And yeah, and I saw they had a poster in their front yard that said "Good luck, Angie" at states or something like that. I was a little bit confused, but I get it now.
Yeah, she's crazy.
Yeah. So I've noticed that you have a pretty busy schedule.
Mm-hmm.
How do you balance swim and schoolwork and other activities?
Yeah, so it's definitely been a learning process. Throughout my high school career, I've dropped a lot of activities as my workloads increased. And I really had to learn how to like pick and choose what I think is going to benefit me the most in the future. That's why I dropped band, that's why I dropped dance, just because that's not a field that I'm going into. So I've really focused my time more on robotics, more on swimming, because I know that those are the things that I can carry more into my future that I will be doing in college. I don't know if I'm going to swim in college, but I'll definitely be doing like robotics related things.
Yeah.
In terms of homework, it's really been a learning process on how to streamline everything.
Streamline.
Yeah, streamline. But learning how to maximize my time, learning when I'm most productive. I've kind of like transitioned my sleep schedule into waking up really early in the morning and going to bed earlier, just because when I get home from practice, I know I'm really tired.
Yeah.
So I try not to do as much work at night, and I try to do it more like before school, which is kind of weird, but it works for me. But I don't know.
Yeah, I know you did competition band in your first 2 years of high school.
I did performance my freshman year.
Oh, so
I did competition myself.
You did competition band your sophomore year, and I know that's a really high commitment activity. Were you able to balance that well in that year?
Yeah, I think I did pretty well. My grades were able to stay to my standard, and it was definitely a lot to balance. And there were definitely some weekends where I felt like I did absolutely no homework at all, but I compensated for it during the week.
Yeah.
And yeah.
Would you say that you have stuff that you might regret dropping, or even if you don't regret, sometimes you still get sad thinking about it?
No.
No?
No. By the time that my band career was nearing an end, I could definitely feel myself burning out. And although I do miss playing in an ensemble and being in that environment, I don't really miss it itself. Let's say I don't miss the CPP program. It might be something I look into doing in college, or when I'm more grown up.
Yeah.
But as of right now, I don't really miss it.
You played trumpet, right, when you were in the band?
Yeah.
Do you still play it at all, like in your free time, or not really?
Not as much. I still play it occasionally for either pep band, or last year I played at graduation.
Yeah.
But yeah, another thing that I had to drop that I don't think I've mentioned is piano. I played like with lessons and like learning and everything for 10 years.
Mm-hmm.
My freshman year I played a level 6, I got 100.
Wow.
And I was like, yeah, I'm gonna be done.
Okay.
So
I feel like that's a good stopping point though.
Yeah.
I
I wouldn't
feel
wanna,
really
like,
satisfied.
do it another year and like not get as high. But I was really happy with that.
Yeah.
And I think it was a nice way to kind of like wrap up my piano career.
Mm-hmm. For swimming, what would you say that you do to get ready for meets? It could be like a dual meet, club, or championship meets, like sectionals.
Yeah, so I tend to have a pretty routine eating schedule for meets. I change it a little bit for meets as compared to practice. I try to eat more protein earlier in the day, so like a really protein-heavy breakfast, protein-heavy lunch, and then later in the day is when I try to focus more on my carbs, just so I can give my body the fuel that it needs. I also try to hydrate as much as I can on meet days.
Yeah, I know it's easy to forget to drink water, but it's really important.
Yeah. But in terms of mentally, especially this year, I haven't had to worry about it as much. I think I've learned how to put less pressure on myself when it comes to swimming, and that's helped me a lot mentally, just because I'm less stressed about my events, and I found that when I'm not worried about my events, I do better.
Yeah, sometimes it's important to just not think as much and trust your training and just go race.
Exactly, yeah. And I don't know. I don't really have like a specific song that I listen to or anything like
Maria.
that. Yeah. Yeah. I did last year. I would walk into, it was really interesting. So it happened for the first 2 meets in a row, and that's when I just decided I would do it for the rest of the season. But Revival, the live version by Zach Bryan, is about 10 minutes long. And the first 2 meets of last year's season, it played exactly as we were pulling into the school, and I would listen to it on the walk into the school, and then I did that for all of the meets for the remainder of the season. And I don't know, it was a nice little ritual that I had. It helped me get in the zone, but this year, like, I haven't needed it at all.
Yeah.
And I've just kind of, like, listened to whatever I felt like listening to.
Yeah. What about when you're at the meet, if you're, like, behind the blocks and the heat before you is wrapping up, do you do the thing where you, like, slap your shoulders or anything?
Yeah.
Or?
I have a pretty routine slapping routine, I guess. I usually start with my arms, then I go and I do my thighs. It's really interesting, but I like to warm up my calves. I feel like it's a very overlooked muscle, but like my calves and my shins, I have to warm up, stretch out.
Especially for backstroke, I feel like.
Yeah. For sure. And I've gotten into the habit of like swinging my arms, because usually like right before your race you're pretty stationary.
Yeah.
So I like to try to get my blood flowing again, try to get my heart rate up so it's not like going from a complete flat. And that's just kind of what I do to try and get in the zone. Sometimes when I'm really nervous, I'll like scrape my hands on the blocks just to get some feeling back in them.
Yeah.
Don't know why, but it helps. Just so I can, like, feel that. And then sometimes I'll, like, give the person that was swimming right before me a high five just so I can, like, feel the water in my hands.
Mm-hmm.
It's kind of weird.
Yeah.
But it helps me kind of, like, get in the zone and get the feeling of the water again.
I know that everyone has a different ratio of how much they need to warm up and how much they need to stand before the race. Would you say that you need to warm up more and stand less, or warm up less and stand more, or are you sort of in between?
I would say I'm sort of in between. I like to warm up a good amount, so at least like I can loosen up. I can have some time of like going fast, but also cooling back down. Especially as I get older, I felt my body need to have more warm up and more cool down. I don't feel as like springy as Alexis, for example, who does barely have either. She warms up a lot, but she doesn't cool down.
Doesn't believe in warm down, apparently. Yeah.
Right, but I've definitely found, especially in high school, that it helps so much to cool down after a race. And warming up is also really important, just so, like, when you hop in the water to do a backstroke start, or when you hit the water off the blocks, it's not as freezing cold.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
So I've noticed that every time you put on a cap, you have pigtails underneath. Can you tell us some of the story behind that?
Yeah, so honestly, I don't really remember how it started, but one day, I think probably during sophomore year, I had my hair in Dutch braids, and I didn't feel like taking them out, so I just kind of like wrapped them into each other, and then I put my cap on, and then I realized, wow, my cap fits really nicely, and I'm not getting a headache from like a ponytail being pressed into my head.
Yeah.
And kind of ever since then, I've just been doing the same thing. And I joke that it's like the only way that my hair will fit in a cap. My hair will fit in a cap in other ways, but it's the most comfortable way for my hair to fit in a cap.
Yeah.
And
I think it'd definitely be helpful for it to lie more flat, if that makes sense.
Yeah, it's like putting a wig on, basically.
Yeah.
And I don't know, I think it's just really comfortable. I look a little bit like Megamind, I look a little bit like a bug, but it's really comfortable for me.
Yeah. And then when you take it off, you have the little...
My little devil horns.
Yeah. So, would you rather set a personal record and get last place in a meet, or add like more than 15 seconds and still get first?
I would still want to get first.
Yeah.
Honestly, because like that implies that even if you did PR, like you're so far ahead of everybody else. You know, and although like internally, you know, like, oh, I did really, really bad, but like externally, like you still have kind of the confirmation or the, what's that word? I don't know. But like you still know that you're so good that you still won.
Yeah, I feel like it would be different between meets for like stack and varsity, because for varsity, the score definitely counts more, I guess. And for club, you're swimming more for your own times, if that makes sense. So,
Yeah.
Yeah.
I agree.
I guess it really depends. What's one thing that non-swimmers don't seem to understand, or like a common misconception about swimming?
That it's not a real sport. I think people don't recognize how difficult swimming can be if they're not a competitive swimmer, because
Yeah.
they don't go through like the
There's-
5,000 yard practices.
Yeah, there's a really big difference between like splashing around in the pool for fun and doing like competitive swimming for like more than 2 hours a day.
Yeah.
It can be really demanding.
Yeah. I also think a lot of people don't really understand like butterfly or undulation.
Yeah.
Because I was trying to teach my dad how to swim fly, and he was just not getting it at all. He couldn't get like the body roll motion, and I was like, okay, Dad, we're just gonna move on now. We'll keep you on long axis strokes. It's okay.
Yeah. Also, it's really hard to drop time, even if it's just like a very small amount of time. So I think sometimes non-swimmers, sometimes like they think that there's always going to be a positive correlation between the amount of training that you put in and how good of a time you get. But that's not always the case, because even if you're only swimming like a 1 minute race, so much of it depends on your nutrition, like how much you hydrated or how much sleep you got. So yeah.
Yeah, for sure. And I think it's really interesting, if I can diverge a little bit, to kind of compare swimming and track. I have a lot of friends in track, and hearing them talk about their races compared to our races is actually really similar in terms of like the times, the mindset, and just kind of how to approach a race. So the way I like to see it is like swimming is track and then diving is field, for like track and field and swim and
Yeah,
dive.
that's a
It's
good
really
analogy.
interesting.
I always thought of swimming being like track, but I didn't really think of diving that way. But that's really interesting.
Yeah, especially like in terms of scoring and like how they do like the order in which they throw or in
Yeah.
which they evolve.
The event progression always stays the same.
Yeah.
And the scoring, I think it generally stays the same, except it's a little different for dual meets and like invites. But yeah. What's one thing that you will miss about varsity swimming and diving after graduating?
I'm definitely going to miss the people the most.
Yeah.
The team environment has always stood out the most to me rather than the training. I wouldn't say I swim for like the fun of it. I definitely swim to get a good workout in. I swim to try to improve my times. But I've definitely stayed for the people. After my freshman year, I was seriously considering quitting, mainly just because I felt like I hit a plateau. I wasn't improving as much as I wanted to, but John actually kept me in the sport. He was like, let's just give it some more time. Let's give it the winter. So I swam a stack, and then when I came back to varsity, I set PRs in like every event. I was doing really great, and
That's
like
great.
I've stayed in swimming since then. And I would say that like I swim mainly for the team and for the team environment, just because like I love all the girls on the team. I love the coaches, and it's made a really big impact in my life.
Yeah.
Even though like after the fall I just get so busy again with robotics that I kind of forget about it. But in the moment it's like the best part of my day.
Yeah, I think for swimming, a lot of people are so focused on their times that you forget the team environment around you, but I think that's like one of the most valuable parts, honestly. How do you feel that you're graduating this year and you're not going to be on the swim team for CPP next year?
I'm a little bit sad about it, mainly just because this year's team was so good in terms of like
Yeah.
team culture and the way that we all were a family. So I'm definitely going to miss that, but I'm also really excited, like, looking into the future to go to college and kind of have the freedom away from the Corning pool, because I've been swimming in this pool for about 10 years now.
Yeah.
And as much as I love it, I'm ready to, like, move on and get started with the next chapter of my life. I might swim club in college. I'm not going D3.
Yeah. You're going to be the next Angie McCain.
Yeah, maybe not.
52-second 100 fly. Let's see it.
22-second 50 free.
Yeah.
Yeah, maybe not. But we'll see. We'll see what I do in college. I definitely want to keep lifting. I want to stay active. But I don't know if I'm going to necessarily be on a swim team.
Yeah.
I might coach. I would coach. I'd be down for that.
I would like you as a swim coach, personally. I always thought about how if we take Alyssa, for example, she's, like, right on the border of Corning and Big Flats, so she would have almost gone to the Horsehead School, and, like, we would have never known her, like, as much as we did. So it's kind of interesting to just think about how people, if they lived only, like, a couple miles away, they'd be on a whole different team, and we'd not, like, interact with them, like, at all.
Yeah, it's actually really interesting that you say that, because Maria actually lives in Elmira.
Yeah.
And
she was on Glen Gators for a
right,
while, too.
and she would have gone to Elmira, but all of her friends are in Corning. So what her family did was, like, they got an apartment in Corning and just kind of, like, put that as their permanent residency, or as a residency for Maria. So that way she can get the free tuition from CPP and be on our sports team instead of, like, going to Ernie Davis.
Yeah.
I can't imagine what it'd be like if she didn't go to Corning.
Yeah.
Ooh, that'd be a different story.
Yeah. I might have not chosen swimming as my topic to make this podcast about if it weren't for her, honestly.
Exactly. Yeah.
Where was the location of the 2025 World Aquatics Championships?
Venice?
It was Singapore.
Okay.
It's okay, you were close enough. So, who's the current world record holder for the women's 100 back short course meters?
I have no idea.
Okay, I'll give you a hint. She's from the USA. I don't know how much that narrows things down, but you can take a guess.
I don't know. The only, like, female swimmer whose name I actually know is, like, Katie Ledecky.
Yeah.
And this summer. Whatever.
McIntosh.
Yeah, Summer
Yeah,
McIntosh.
Summer McIntosh. It's Regan Smith, and her time is...
I could have gotten that. If you'd asked me, like, 2 years ago, I would have gotten that.
Her time is 54:02. Yeah.
That's quick.
I think you're gonna get this one.
Okay.
Who's the most decorated Olympic swimmer of all time?
Katie Ledecky.
Michael Phelps.
Mm.
Yeah.
There is something on that.
He has
But, yeah.
28 medals.
Yeah.
That's a lot of medals.
It's a lot of medals. That's a heavy neck.
Yeah. This one might be a little harder.
Okay.
At the Toronto World Aquatics World Cup on October 25th, 2025, Katie Ledecky's 800 free short course meters world record was broken by more than 3 seconds. Who broke her record?
Her.
No, it was
No?
Monty Pallister.
Okay.
Okay.
I genuinely, I know, like, nothing about,
Yeah.
like, big world swimming. I just know, like, a couple big names.
Yeah. I hope you're able to get this one.
Okay.
What was your first 100 back time? This is from a really long time ago.
I don't know, 133.
This is really close. It's
Really?
138.25.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
That's not too bad. I was going to say 127. I was like, nah, probably not. Then I was going to say 137. I was like, I don't think I was that slow.
Those are some amazing swimmers. It's so impressive what people are capable of. Thank you for coming on to the podcast, and see you next time. Thank you, Nicole, for sharing your story as a swimmer with us. Thank you to any listeners, and remember to be like Dory. Just keep swimming.